Truthseeker and/or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and/or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the Truthseeker podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark Savage!
Streaming live at truthseeker.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark sided stuff!
And now, your host, Truthseeker.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Truthseeker. This is the Truthseeker podcast, man. Excited, delighted to be with you guys on this Wednesday night episode, man. We're going to get it in. We're going to talk about all things spiritual. Shout out to everybody holding us down in the chat rooms right now, no matter where you're listening to. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, all of the different streaming platforms and outlets out there that we have family scattered abroad who's all hanging out with us tonight on those platforms of choice. And shout out to everybody listening on the podcasting apps as well. You guys know who you are. Thank you guys for all the love, man. You guys really make this show what it is. And I want to say a huge thank you again to everybody supporting this show via Patreon. If you believe in the work and you're blessed and touched by the conversation, the work that I bring to the table, the music, anything, the book, the guests, all of that stuff, this isn't possible without your help. So if you would like to support, you can go to my Patreon page, and there's different levels and tiers where you get access to some really cool stuff. Get access to our Thursday night School of the Mystics, which is the community aspect to what we're building here. You get access to my entire discography of music, which is like 200 plus songs. You get all of that for $5. $5. So if you want to support, there's other tiers and other things. You get my guided meditations and all that cool stuff. Check it out. There's stuff that you get for $1. Whatever you can do, it means the world that you believe in this platform, and you are co-creators with making this possible. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Shout out to some of the latest patrons within the last week or so. Shout out to Jessica Dugas. Thank you, my friend, for coming on board. And also shout out to Julie. Welcome to the community, my friend. Welcome to the Discord as well. You get access to all that stuff. Check it out. Patreon.com/Truthseeker. My new book is here. Spirit Realm, Angels, Demons, Spirits, and the Sovereignty of God by Truthseeker. And the forward is by Jordan Maxwell. If you haven't had a chance to check this out, it is on Amazon. You can go to truthseeker.com. Go straight to the link that way. Go to the portal. Get your copy. You won't be disappointed. You'll be blessed. It's good stuff. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's episode. I'm going to bring my friend, Christy Warnick. Christy, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I was on your show sometime last year, and then you were supposed to be on my show, and we tried to do it, but it was during my internet battles, the internet battles of 2019, which were several months of chaos and questions for me. But we tried to make it happen. We finally got it rescheduled. Here we are. I'm excited to have you on and talk about your work and all that good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, last year was quite the year, right? Quite the year. It's a lot of transitions going on, a lot of transformation. I'm loving it. it wasn't always the easiest thing, but it's getting better, much better, so much easier, so much better, just flowing, going with the flow. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too, because we were talking off air before we went live, and I was like, hold on, we just got to go live. And that's kind of like a rule. Don't talk too much before you're live, because we start getting rid of so much. I was like, no, the community needs this. People need to hear this. So we went ahead and went live. But before we jump into that, because there are some shifts going on, and beautiful to see it from different perspectives. And some of the stuff you were talking about, I've kind of dealt with a couple years ago in levels, and we'll get into it in a minute. Just kind of give your background, who you are, what you bring to the table, just so people who aren't familiar with your work know who you are. Then we'll jump into that.
Absolutely. So I'm Christy Warnick, a spiritual healer and teacher. Even though I don't really identify with that so much, as many of us are kind of dropping the labels and things like that. But yeah, so I just use that as just an overall idea of some of the things that are, possible with sessions and things that I do. So I started many years ago, just normal, everyday, going about my business and working for an accounting office, and started along the way after my son was born and all of this, started having some health issues that came up, and went in search of medical attention and or medical care, and didn't really receive any answers at that time. And so it's like, okay, so I went in search of, I was doing the alternative medicine stuff, and went in search of energy healers and learned so much. I mean, so many years of learning about energy healing, what it is, what it does, there was so much information though that I learned and I'm so grateful that I learned it, but now I've been guided to really let go of what I learned, so that I could just be in this space and be more unlimited and bring about. And I'm like, well, what do I do if I don't know all this stuff? And it's like, that's just it. There's power in the not knowing too. And because I know a lot of stuff, but it's like, how much of that is really actually true, or how much of it was made up, over the years due to other people's experiences. And then they taught from their experience. So now I help people with finding their truth, finding that and discovering that power within them, and that connection that they have with the divine, the universe, the creator of all that is, whatever you want to call that, whatever that is for you. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. The names, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so it's what it means for you, and kind of going from there. But I got certified in a lot of things. I'm a Reiki master, hollow sets technician. I got certified in all of these things, light wave and all these other techniques and modalities. And now it's like, wow, I can let so much go, but yet the sessions are so much more powerful. And I do. One of my biggest beliefs is that, and it's not just a belief, it's just a knowing. Now, things come in more as a knowing, because a belief is only a belief as long as you believe that it's true, and you can change your mind at any time. And so beliefs aren't meant for us to really hold on to unless it's something that we absolutely believe in, that is, like who we are, something like that. But, we still can exist and live an amazing life without having so many beliefs and so many different things, and creating in that way. We can create more from that I am presence, that I am, that power that is within everyone, not just certain people. Everyone is amazing. And when you really go beyond the things, like I said, whether it be beliefs, programming, conditioning, whatever it is this amazing divine being that is within everyone. And so I don't believe that anyone is really better than anyone else, even though there are some things that some people are better at doing. But as far as your true self, no one is better than anyone else. And so So it really takes a lot of the pressure off and really unlimits you. And for me, like I said, that anything is possible. That is something that I believe in, but it's a knowing, and it's very, it does help to unlimit things, because you're like, okay, if anything is possible, there's not one thing that I can say for sure that is out there that I say that is absolutely not possible. I mean, I don't get that. And I'm just like, I've said it so many years now, anything is possible, that it's actually becoming my reality. And it's just amazing what we can do with this, like I said, the power within, not just the mind. As you know, we're taught at a young age, or I was anyway, many years ago, that, you know, the mind is so powerful, but there's something even more powerful than that, that you can really create amazing things with.
That's awesome. And I was talking about how it sounds similar to like something that happened to me, which even the wording and terminology that you're using just reminds me of my awakening out of like organized religion. Like, this is the way it is. This is what I've been taught. There aren't many, it doesn't flex much. It's concrete. And anything outside of this is kind of questionable. And then you kind of have that awakening or epiphany that, wow, I thought I had it figured out, but God, you know, the universe like kind of like stretches your imagination and shows you the endless possibilities if you would simply believe. And so for me, very similar to what you're saying, but coming out of religion and opening up to the vastness and the beauty of, and even finding peace in not knowing, and even finding peace in not having to be right or having to teach it like this way. This is the right way. So it sounds very similar to what you're experiencing, to what I experienced coming out of religion. Very dogmatic, very uniform, and you have to learn it all. And once you learn it all, you got it. You're good. Mm-hmm. We're going to send you out to teach it. And then it's like, God, the universe has a way of, I don't, you said what? I don't do what? I don't, and it's like, oh my goodness. So it's almost like, we're challenging once we have this mode and it's the only way. Now I see the beauty in all ways, or no way, whatever, like just the beauty in everything. And then you're talking about the mind and the vastness of what we can experience in this. Like literally it opens up the door to like whatever you can believe, whatever you can see, whatever you can see, you can experience. And it's opened up the doors for us, I'm sure, and a lot of people listening, and it's closed the door for a lot of people as well to beautiful, crazy, out of this world encounters, not once, but on many a times, because you believed it, because you were open to have those experiences. And we just keep kind of having our mind blown all the time about the beauty and awe of this thing we called life.
Yeah. And when people realize that they're not all these things that they once thought they were told that they were, someone else thought that they were, like the mind, you're not the mind. It's a tool. It's something that, it's like it has a service. It has a purpose, obviously, but somewhere over, I don't know how long, ago it's been, but somewhere over time, and I use that word loosely, somewhere along the line, there's been, just things that have been created, even to do with like the body, which includes the brain, which that's, the mind, the whole thing like that, but that in its functions. Like, for example, there's so much about the body that I learned through, my own personal health issues and stuff like that I'm now, it's like, wow, there's what if within the body, because there's within the universe, let's just take the universe, for example, is such a mystery. It's such a mystery. Could we ever know all the amazing mysteries of the universe? And no. And so the body can be the same way too. So once I let go of what I thought, this function, this does this and this does that, because I learned so much about just overall medical stuff. What does the brain do? What do each of the the parts of the brain do, and all of this stuff, and all the functions of the organs and the glands and all these things to do with the body. And so now I'm like, the people that I learned that from, or the experience that I was experiencing at that time, and that's how it was working. It's like, is that really truly the way it was meant to be, though? And so when a lot of things are because of conditioning or something like that, programming, whatever it is. And so even genetics are not all that we believed that they were. And so it's amazing what can happen, though, when you just say, you know what, I don't know, and I'm okay with that. And so it's allowing the mysteries and the surprises and things like that more so than needing to and having to know all this stuff, because I found that so much of what I knew, because I knew a lot of stuff, but then I'm like, how much of that is actually true? Because I kept finding things that I was like, well, wait a minute, that's really limiting. And really, when you go back to your true self and your true nature, there's not all these limitations. And so when I would run across something like that, I'd be like, well, wait a minute, because it was like some things were like, you hear about, okay, you have to believe it to receive it. Well, why? Who said that? Because isn't that limiting? If you have to believe something in order to receive it, couldn't you receive it and then that helps you believe it? I mean, why limit yourself to one way or the other? So when you start unlimiting even those types of things, it's amazing what can show up, because you don't have this meaning that you've given it, and you don't have the limitations around it.
That's
so it's
good.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. So for my awakening out of what I came out of, it made a lot of people mad. So did you go through any of that? Did you go through like loss of friends or being vocal once people are kind of in a certain paradigm and say, okay, well, if you don't believe this anymore, then you can't play with us? Or was there any of that going on like during this time?
Actually, in that regard, I was very fortunate. A few years ago, well, and right after I started learning more about the energy healing and all of that, I put out there to the universe, I suppose, I would love to find a way to, to really share more with people about energy healing, because at that time I was like, that's what saved my life. And then I was led to the next step after that was like, that was just part of it. But then, more recently, it's like I was led to discover, my true self and that I am connected and that there is no separation, all that stuff. But at that time, a few months after that, I put out there, I'd love to, share more with people about energy healing. I got invited on a couple of to be interviewed on some shows, Facebook Lives and things like that. And after one, I was asked, hey, we're starting a network. Would you like to come on and have your own show? And I was just like, oh, crap. I was just like, that was just totally not me. I'd never done a show. I mean, these were just my first couple of times just even being on camera and being online and put myself out there. And then I was offered my own show. And so I was like, but this is answering, something that I put out there to really be able to share with other people more about energy healing. And so I ended up getting back with them and saying yes. So I started my own show. And that was, like last year you were on that show with me. And so now I'm on another network. So it's actually gone from the Power of Energy Healing show to now I'm doing Healing Your Way to Enlightenment. So I'm on a totally different network that is not on Facebook Live. And so what's really happened along the way here is that I was supported in all of this that was going on. Once I got past it, I kind of was away from a lot of my, I didn't have a lot of friends that were here around me, like where I live necessarily. But the thing is I don't go up to people and say, hey, this is, unless they ask me, I don't just go around, sharing all this stuff with people. I'm totally, hey, how are you doing? Just asking them, just having a regular, normal conversation. I don't go around talking about spiritual stuff unless someone asks me about it. So So my regular friends, we don't really discuss this kind of stuff. And so it wasn't an issue for me at all because I don't push it on anybody. And it's up to them. If they ask me about it, that's one thing. But most of the time they don't. And if they do, they're curious. And so I'll answer their questions. And then we just go on about our business. So, but with the show and everything, I actually just, when I did the Facebook Live, the show there, I was sharing my videos on my personal page as well as my business page. I was like, I don't care who sees this, because either they'll like it and watch it, or watch it and learn, decide that they like it, or they won't, and they just won't watch it. It's no big deal. But I never really got that from my friends because I wasn't still really close to my friends that I had like from high school or growing up or anything like that. And then, and all of my friends now that I have on Facebook are totally into all the spiritual stuff, and they're open to this kind of stuff. So it was really I was very fortunate in that way.
Where are you at? Aren't you in Alabama?
I am. I'm in, close to Birmingham, Alabama. And so, and my husband and son, they, of course it's weird for them, but they let me do my thing and they do their thing, and it's all good. They don't really judge me for it. They just say, hey, she does some weird stuff, and that's okay. But it's all good. And so my family really doesn't understand that much, but they don't need to or have to, you know, it's not their path. It's not their journey. And if they have questions, they'll come to me and ask me. But otherwise, it's not a big deal for me because I don't look for them for approval. That's the thing. I'm doing my thing and they can do their thing. And it's, I look at it as their life. They do what they want with it. And this is my life and I do what I want. And if they come to me, I can help them out or whatever. But otherwise, we just do our own thing, and it's all good. I mean, we're just, like I said, I was very fortunate in that way. I don't look at it as I didn't have anything to lose, because really and this was an amazing thing that came to me I get just these really moments of clarity, which I have a lot of that, but sometimes these messages come in very clear. In those moments, sometimes it's just silence, and that's okay. I'm okay with the peace. But it was like, what if? I always like to play around with the what ifs, because I work with, and this is how I put it out there. Instead of telling people, okay, this needs to and has to be done, or this has to be this way, I work and play with possibilities. That's how I look at them, as possibilities versus telling someone else what to do. Because I don't put my stuff off on anyone else. I share it. So it's suggestions or possibilities versus saying, okay, this is because I don't believe that there's only one way, because then you would be saying, okay, then there aren't infinite possibilities if you say this is the only way that to do this. So I open that up and leave that open. And so the other morning it came in so clear to me, and I actually wrote it down. And I always like to add in the what if at the beginning. But so what if there was nothing to lose, yet everything to gain? Because that in which we truly are, we cannot lose, and it cannot be taken away. And anything outside of that is temporary. So, yeah, so it was just, it's been very freeing. It's very, very freeing.
Yeah, stepping out of the paradigms and is a big one for a lot of people. And again, like once we kind of put, our existence and beliefs in God in a box, it has a way of exploding or going, like turning in on itself. And
I found so many limitations and conditioning and programming around and beliefs and stuff around God and the soul. And a lot of that comes from religion and wherever else, people, call it past lives, whatever. But it doesn't have to be. You get to choose. At some point in time, you get to choose what is true for you or not. And that's what I help people to do, is to find and discover their truth and that power within them, which is not only within them, it's all around, and it's above and below and all around. And so it's just an amazing thing that we get to discover, but we can do so by just being. And really, once you stop looking for all these different complicated answers, it really can be very simple yet profound. And the answers will come to you, but you don't need to or have to know these things in order to heal things or to heal or to resolve or whatever. I found that once you connect in, it becomes so much easier.
Yeah. But I think like when people are trying to find healing or they need help with something, it helps them to say, okay, she's a Reiki healer. Okay, she's a psychic healer, or she does this, or she does, he's a Christian mystic, or he's a Christian healer, whatever. So they even have their boxes so that they can understand what we're doing, right? And it's so.
And that's fine.
Do you still use the modalities, or is this just a totally different process now, or do you kind of just sit with the energy and just kind of do whatever you feel led to do?
I can use the modalities. I just don't follow along with all the things that I was taught about them. Like if I enjoy doing like a hand movement or something, it's just that, but it's the intention, but it's also just being, like I had mentioned, in the space of, and with the sessions, this is kind of what happens, or the best way that I know to describe it. Let's put it that way, because I don't know what happens exactly. I mean, and that's the beauty of it. We don't need to know, but the best way that I can describe it for myself at this time is to say that there's this space of, and some people call it the quantum field. Some people call it the 0 point. It's been called so many different things, but I just like to say that it's this place where everything exists, yet nothing exists at the same time. And so it's almost like there's infinite possibilities. Anything is possible. And I mean that in the best possible way, of course, because I see this like as an umbrella of the divine, which at the, it goes and is stemmed from or comes from that highest level of love, that unconditional love. It's really beyond words, but that's the best way that we know to describe it, is unconditional love or truest love, purest love, universal love, whatever you want to call it. And then from there, up under that, what are all the amazing things that come up under that? And for me, that's what the divine is. And because in that space, there's no fear, there's no judgment, because the divine doesn't do that. And there's no problems or issues that are truly exist in that space. And so when you enter this space, or when you're in this space, this energy or whatever you want to call it, I just call it a space. And it's, like I said, amazing things. Even when people like schedule a session with me, it's like sometimes I've had many of them where even before, like as soon as we get on the phone, they'll say, they had scheduled, let's say like a day before, 2 days before, maybe a week before. And they said, wow, do you know that since I've scheduled this, and this has happened since then? And so things already start to shift and change when they schedule that session. And then by the time we get to the session, it's just like everything just starts unfolding. And it's just such a beautiful process now versus I used to muscle test and douse for different answers and look for different things. And now I don't do that anymore because I'm just like, okay, so what's going on here? What do you feel? What are you experiencing? Yeah. And then it's almost just like, okay, let's just enter that in there. And then we'll just let the divine take care of that because like I said, there's divine intelligence that knows so much more than anything that I could have learned.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I've kind of always done that, and I felt like I'm missing out because I don't have a label. Oh, yeah, it's Reiki. We're doing Reiki tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, okay, let's sit with the energy. I'm going to release it. I'm going to move it. I can feel it. So I've never been taught. It's all intuitive. Like, I've been it's been taught through hands-on and through being in the energy and knowing how to push it and pushing it and then seeing it move off us. I've never been taught. So, but part of even me would be like, you need the Reiki stuff almost to validate. Yeah, we're doing Reiki.
Some people go in search of Reiki masters. of certain types of healers, certain people that are labeled in certain ways. But the way I look at it is that, and this happens all the time, is that if they're meant to find me, they will, no matter what the label is. And so many of them find me through Facebook or YouTube, or they just do a Google search. I had someone one time that scheduled a session, and she was like, I don't know how I found you. I just went to the internet and your name showed up somehow.
I know,
and here I am. I've never done this before. I'm totally ready. And I was like, well, that's why you found me. And someone else said that I showed up on their Instagram and they don't even follow me and they don't even know, but they saw one of my posts, because I post daily inspirational posts. And so they liked some of those that they were seeing, and they just contacted me. But so many of them said that they were guided to me.
Yeah.
They said that spirit or whatever it is, that somehow spiritually they were guided to me and knew that I could help them in some way. And I'm like, well, I'm here to help, even though I'm just here to allow in this amazing divine that knows exactly who you are and what to do for you and how to do it, and how wonderful is that. So that's the reason why I love playing with miracles, because there's so many miracles that are already around us. And when you get to playing around with some of the I ams, that's pretty fun too, because everyone is a miracle. And so what if you had a belief, and this is for people that are manifesting from their subconscious mind, but what if you had a belief that, well, first of all, that anything is possible, but also that you are a miracle. Like, so if you said, I am a miracle, and I attract and receive and experience that in which I truly am. And I like to add in that word truly, because there's more of that, the I am that I am, all these amazing things without really defining that. But if you pulled out just a few of those things, love, peace, harmony, joy, healthy, well-being, all of these are included in the I am, and so much more, right? And in there also is abundance and being unlimited. The divine is unlimited. And so yet also there's acceptance, and there's all these wonderful things that can be included in the I am that I am, that it could possibly mean if you were to give it a meaning. And knowing that is not only within you, but you're connected to it. You're a part of that. It's a part of you, and it's around you. And what if you let that help you, instead of believing that there's all these other things that have to be done? I mean, it's just amazing when you just throw out the box altogether, right?
When that
happens, like for you, even though you didn't learn the techniques and the modalities, you had the religion background that kind of you worked through, right? Mm-hmm. And so that you kind of found your way as far as letting go of some of the limitations with that. And for me, I didn't come from a religious background, but mine was, though, I went through so many different healing techniques and modalities that I learned. And I found that with that came a lot of fear. And so I let that go, though. So it's been very freeing. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Was it a bit of identity in it? Like, okay, this is my identity, and so that had to kind of, like, the ego death would like that validated you, and so God's like, no, that's not who you are. If I strip that from you, you still possess the ability to be in flow and to tap in without those things. Was it any? Oh, yeah, because
there's a big identity, but a lot of beliefs that go with healers that come, for healers. And so, but when I was like, that's not who I am, though. That's something that I get to do. That's totally different. So when you're letting go of the I am this and I am that, and start changing and also letting go of some of the you need to and have to do this. But what if you get to be who you are? You with the I am, you just are. It just is. And from there, because when you put that first, then you get to do these other things. You get to help people, and it helps them with healing. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your identity, and it comes with all these belief systems and things, just like people that say that they're empathic. That comes with so much programming and conditioning that's the reason why they feel the things that they feel. That's not meant to be. If it's really truly a spiritual gift, this divine gift, it doesn't come with pain and struggling and suffering in its truest form.
Yeah, there's not like you see a lot of memes and stuff like that, and where people are talking about, oh, this and that and this and that. It's like, for me, I know, and even what you said a while ago, it's like, well, I don't really talk about it in public. If you're an empath and you're feeling those energies, like, you got to deal with it. Like, it's for a reason. It's not just like, oh, I'm being beat up by all these energies. Look, hold on. Who's dealing with depression? You? Who's being beat by their husband? You? Okay. Why do I feel like I'm getting beat up when I hang around you? Oh, you're getting beat up at home and I'm able to feel that. You just walk off? Come on. That defeats the purpose. We have to start stepping out. And we look at all these mystics and great people. They started doing this stuff in the marketplace. They'll walk up to people and they would engage them, not because they put on their cloak and just let me get in and get my box of cereal and get out. Like, they were there to like engage the people. And I tell you what, the people who have these grandiose stories, and there's even people doing it on video, is they feel the empathy. They feel the heaviness or whatever it is that you're feeling. It comes in many different forms. And if you don't deal with it, it will beat you up. I got friends who, if they don't deal with it, they'll take it home with them. And they just have to like kind of wrestle through it at home. And so my friends I got friends that will grab people's hands in public. Look, let me tell you, I know what you're going through, and help them release. And people will start crying and they'll have this like encounter. So I'm with you, man. Just like, and there's we call it empathic. It's got so other many names for it. Discernment of spirits. I'm able to discern the spirits that are in the atmosphere.
It's a made up name, but what if, because obviously I like to play with that. So what if, though, you just being like you said, in the grocery store, okay, or in the market, wherever. And what if you just, by being in the space of just knowing who you are, just in its truest form. So there's no, identifying with anything really. It's just, I am that I am, and you just are in that moment, and you're just being in the moment. I see for myself, I see people that are in that space. I see people as like they glow this light. Okay, so let's just play with light for a moment. You have this spark of light. Everyone has this light. It is light. We're all high vibrational beings. So that's the reason why these lower vibrational stuff isn't really resonating with them anymore. It's really getting to them. And so, but when you say that's not who I am, and that's not mine, you can more easily let it go when you're not saying, okay, this is mine and I have to do so, or, that's so-and-so's and I have to do something with it. Well, no, you don't. What if you just get to be, because I see like myself when I go to the grocery store, I used to go in and I'd be like, but that doesn't happen anymore. I go in and I'm smiling, I'm looking around, I'm seeing these amazing things, I'm seeing abundance. And what if just by being in that space and you just have this field around you, and what if just by being that what if, and people started, because you can project out your light, your love, these amazing things that are a part of you, that are within you. And that's the thing, it's unlimited and there's abundance. So it cannot be, like I said, you can't lose it. It can't be taken away. So it's an infinite amount. So it's not something that people talk about giving away their energy and stuff like that. Well, when you really go back to I am energy, so if you are truly energy, could you lose it and can it be taken away? No. And so that's where a lot of that's just part of the transition that people are going through to find their true self, or to discover the power within them and this amazing connection that they have. But like I said, when you're in the store, I just see more of like this, this this field that's around me, or that I guess is, I don't know if it's projected from me or if it's just around me. I don't know, because I'm just like, it's everywhere. And so it's not me, it's just what's there. And what if just people being in that space, what if that just helped them? And so I just leave that open to possibilities. That way, if I don't feel what other people are feeling necessarily, I don't feel that anymore. But yet I know that me just being there, just being here on earth, and so many people, I see that everyone's light, everyone that truly has that in them really does help other people just by being. You may have seen the little cartoon or the little drawing I've posted on Facebook before. It shows how this one person that's lit up, enters this room of other people that aren't. And then it just starts to, that's just the way it just works that way. It starts to help other people around them without them even doing anything. And it's just from being. What if you just went somewhere and you just smiled? And what if that changed everything in the place? I mean, it just lit up the place.
Yeah, and again, I think that's the vastness of what we're talking about, of putting things in the box, like it only has to be done this way or it's only this way. Mm-hmm. The beauty is, I think it's a little bit of all of it. I think, and there's people who are even intentional with that. They're sending light, they're praying. They're not going to talk to you, but they're in their head. They're having a spiritual warfare going on, walking through there, and they're trying to combat it. You're talking to them, but they're thinking other things. And so there's a big contrast of what goes on. I've seen it all. I mean, I've heard stories. I've been around those people. I've been around people who I know walked the talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, they literally, you can feel it. You want to hang with them. You want to be taught by them. You want to hug them. You feel the energy. I've hugged. I mean, there's a girl in India who hugs people, and when she hugs them, she heals them. There's another guy who, he does whole lectures, and he'll sit there and just stare at you. And when he stares at you, you just feel love. He's sending you love, and energy just overtakes you. There's so many things of just being in that auric field of that person. The great minister Smith Wigglesworth was on trains, and people would come up to him and say, "Sir, who are you? What must I do to be saved? Just being around you convicts me of my sin, of the bad things that I'm doing." And he's not even opened his said a word to these people. He's just there.
Well, yeah, because it's not him. It's not them that's actually doing it. There's this divine that is doing it. I mean, unless they want to say, "Okay, yeah, I'm doing that," but that's not, So, but because, like I said, everyone has that ability to actually do that. It's, there's certain people that seem to have, I guess, moved to a certain space to where that just happens, but anybody can get there. Anybody can actually do that.
Yeah. There's levels, and I do think that part of it, whether you want to say believing or expecting is different, of going out like mission minded, going into those situations and looking for encounter and looking. So I'm starting your day with, I'm gonna be a blessing for someone, and just looking for that. And it's a way to kind of tiptoe in it and see it and open it up at the beginning, but then you find out it is a lot bigger, and it doesn't need you. It can use you, but it doesn't need you, right? And we are messengers, and we carry messages, angels, even for other people. We can do that, and just the vastness of it, man. I've seen so many divine encounters like that in public, and I've been blessed to be obedient to that energy and do things or not do things when I was told. When I felt the energy, hey, do this, do it, you better do it. And I don't do it. And I said, oh my God. And I just feel like crap because two and two went together. But it's part of knowing and learning and kind of getting in that and kind of understanding, okay, I should have been obedient. Next time I'm in a situation, something like that happens spiritually, I feel that energy, I feel that nudge to do this for that person, I'm going to do it, because you can feel it. And so it's a big learning experience, and people learn differently, and we're gifted in different areas. And again, some people looking at people, some people touch you and you can feel it. I mean, even with like spiritual abilities, some people have to touch you to know what you're going through. When they touch you, then they're empathic. You know, then, or, you know, some people look at you, and so they're not looking around. You know, looking in your eyes. I'm like that. I look in people's eyes, I can tell all kind of stuff comes to me. It's overwhelming at times. You got to be, you know, going. You know, it could be overwhelming, and everybody's in different places. But I think it's all beautiful, just the different contrast of it all.
Everyone is different. Everyone has their own experience. No two experiences are exactly the same. And so everyone has, and it's not to say that one person is right or wrong or anything like that, because that would go against the whole thing. What it's all about really is just not, you know, people are out there doing the best they can. And like I said, I know that within everyone is this just amazing divine being. And those possibilities are there for everyone and anyone. But everyone's on their own journey. And so, you know, at some point you learn to, or you just get to the point to where it's like, okay, you know, your health, your well-being, you can, you know, have that and still help others.
Yeah.
If it interferes, if it's preventing you from thriving, then obviously that's not the best way to go about it. But absolutely, you can pray for anyone. Just sending someone love or praying for someone can be so powerful. So if people are out there looking for ways to help others, that is such an amazing way. If you can't do it some other way, that in itself is very powerful. And just you knowing that that's powerful makes it even more so. But so sometimes when I go to, like I said, I just hold this intention with me anywhere that I go, that, you know what, the divine is with me, but all around me too. And what if me just knowing that helps everyone, you know, and so the more people that know that, imagine what could happen if everyone started doing that, started seeing this divine spark within everyone. And it's not to say that you have to like what that person is doing or, you know, what they're saying or anything like that. You don't have to agree with them necessarily, but you can know that beyond and beneath this, you know, what you're seeing based on what they're doing or saying or whatever, is this amazing divine being within them. And so what if by knowing that is within other people, that helped to bring that out in more people, help to shift things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes actions involved, you know, calling it out, speaking to them, telling them, prophesying it over them as far as like, hey, do you know what's inside of you? No. Well,
that's what my videos are for. I don't go around like in public, like, you know, like we were talking about. I don't go around telling people.
I don't either. It's fun, but I'm not that outgoing. But when it moves you, you have to, you know. Yeah,
and like I said, if someone asks me, that's one thing. But I don't, because I know that there's this. What if you just stood next to them and just, you know, like I said, they're being sent this love and they're being blessed or loved, and which they already are. But what if that just helps to activate that for them or helps them to feel that in that moment? What if that shifts something for them and they just know in their own way, you know, without having to be told or anything like that? What if they just have this knowing that comes in for them, or they're shown in their own way, you know, a way that's best for them to get a message, or maybe it's a synchronicity, maybe it's some other kind of message. And, you know, I just leave it open to they'll, you know, I can just be there and or I just do the videos and just do the sessions, and I get to do those. So I don't feel like I have to, because I know that just be like, all of us are meant to be here. And just by being here, you're already doing what you're meant to do just by being, because we're meant to be here and actually thrive. And we're meant to be here and enjoy our lives. And so the more you find ways to do that and to actually become that and allow that I am to, or your true self, or to connect in some way to where you can just feel that love that you already are. I mean, that really radiates out so much more than anything else, really. So much more than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, it's about your mind frame and believing it and desiring it and expecting it. And if you're doing that, it's having impact and not just hoping that it will. Maybe there's a hope at the beginning until you start seeing it like happen, right? I mean, for a lot of us, we're like, oh, there's something to this. Let me continue to entertain these kind of thoughts. Let me continue to live this type of life because it's happening. I'm seeing results. At first, it's kind of like blind faith. We're just kind of like in this thing, like trying to figure it out. And then stuff's working when I do.
It's not always that you can see it. And so, but you can just know it. You can just go within yourself and just know and be comforted by that knowing that is there. And eventually you start to embody those things. You start to embody this amazing being that you truly are, and it really helps and is there to support you and nurture you and assist you and just do so many things for you. And I recently encouraged people, especially with the new year, but even before that, I was doing this with my clients, is like, get a notebook and write in there, the universe is taking care of this, or the divine is taking care of this, the creator is taking care of this, God is taking care of this, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And start writing in that notebook some things, whether it's something that you would like to be resolved, or it's something that you would like to receive, or to, something that you want. Put it in the notebook and just, say, okay, I wrote it down. That way you can kind of let go of some of the worry around these things. And you can just say, you know what, I put it in the notebook here and the universe is taking care of this. Because then you have this, you start with this and can have this mindset that, okay, I wrote this down. And so therefore, it's being taken care of. You don't know the when, the where, the how, but that's okay. It's happening. And so when you really know that that's happening, and you can even ask for signs. Say, show me, bring me some type of synchronicity, some type of sign that this is working. And a lot of times you will receive that sign. You will receive some kind of sign that it's working. It's
so crazy. Just the more we think about that, the complexity of God, of life, of the universe, of the mind, of the just expecting those things and they show up. It's questionable because, for me, coming from a Christian perspective, all that stuff was done with prayer because I asked for it, I received it, and in my mind, it was God that gave it. But it's like kind of like the laws of the universe. Like I expected it, I made my petition known, I wrote it down, and it happened. Like these things kind of go together. Maybe when they're coupled, in this way. But like I start looking back over all of this thing that, I look at it as like it's an entity. It's a father, a loving figure that's, out there and loves me and sends me peace and sends me at all times. I'm never away from that. I'm never not in that. So that helps me. It's almost like a person that's out there, it's just like always wanting to hang out, always listening, but to understand the universal law and those things you're talking about, writing it down, confessing it, speaking it out, expecting it, and it happens. It's like that's a form of prayer where like every breath is the prayer, writing it down, believing it, asking God. There's a difference even in prayer, though. I'll say this. There's a difference within like asking and not believing, and then like or begging, like as a beggar and not as a son or a daughter of a king, right? And so there's a difference there. Like, can I please have this, or hoping something versus like praying with expectation, knowing that you're heard, knowing that your intentions and motives are pure, and then those things are going to happen because you need them, or whatever the case is, knowing that your needs are met. So just this whole universal consciousness and law and the way things work. And I know we put labels on it and it helps us to identify with it. It's God,
that's how we
and
communicate.
The structure helps me, but it's working the exact same way for the person who doesn't use my terminology. The exact same things are working. They're finding healing. They're finding bliss. They're kicking off their old habits because they went on a DMT trip and went to heaven and saw angels and saw, gnomes and all this kind of stuff. It's very similar. just different modalities even, but then you find out that the damn modalities don't even matter, just like what you're finding out now. It's just all is, man, and it is love, and it's everything all at once, and it's all okay.
It's funny that I had a feeling all along that there was something, and then that's what I was being guided to, that there was something more, that there are, and not necessarily more. It ended up being, it's that saying, well, sometimes it's like less is more. So it was finding that it was really more simple, even though there was more, but it was so much more simple. That's the reason why I like to say simple yet profound, because it really all goes back to that unconditional love. That's the way that I imagine it anyway. And so, and it's in the way that I another way that I look at a lot of these things that I'm finding to not be true for me is that it's kind of like a child that, and I've mentioned this before, but it's a really good analogy. It's like when there's a child that has this and is afraid of this monster under the bed. Right. Now, sometimes you shine a flashlight under there and you can see that there's not a monster under the bed. Right. And then sometimes you just wake up, one day, or you just happen to just all of a sudden one day it's just not there anymore, because it's almost like you outgrew it, that stage or whatever. And so when we really start to shine the light on a lot of these things, a lot of people will find that they'll find their truth. They'll find that there wasn't a monster under the bed, type of thing. And so, and then as after that happens, then it's almost like, wow, there never was one there. And how wonderful is that to know now? And so that appreciation and knowing that, wow, it was never there. How cool is that? And so you kind of forget about all the stuff you went through because you're so in that moment, and there's so much, oh, wow, thank you, that gratitude in that moment, that it's just like, because you're not your past. Just like you're not your experiences and all these other things.
I want to ask this to the audience who's listening. How many of you still worry about the monster under the bed or the monster in the closet or in the darkness? It's like, but then again, you just said at the beginning that all possibilities exist. And if everything exists, what if a possibility exists where that one time you finally see that monster? Maybe you're in your 30s, but he's under there. What if it exists? People fear false evidence appearing real. We create our own monsters, right? These things and these hurdles, and the Bible would call them mountains. And I speak to that mountain and tell it to be removed. And if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can do anything, right? All things are possible. Those experiences, man, we start fearing. We create these things that don't exist. They exist for you, though. It's real for you.
That's what I was going to say. It's for that child. We're using that as the analogy here. Yeah. It is very real. It is very real for that child. That's the reason why there's no judgment for the people, for anyone out there, because I know up until even recent, I've still had some fears and things like that. But eventually, what helped me get past them though is that's not who I am. And so it helped me to let go, because it was that's not who I am. And it doesn't even fall up under that umbrella or that canopy that I have there. That's coming from this I am that I am, and really being in that space versus, like I said, what has been created and manifested from the fears. And so those things just stop resonating once you really discovered that true self, that power within, as well as that is around as well, and that you get to be a part of. But it's people that they're still working through their belief systems and things like that. Yeah. But the more you can get out there, though, have fun. Find something that brings you peace, whether it's yoga, hiking, being out in nature, whether it's reading a book, even watching certain things on TV. Maybe it's something funny. Maybe it's something uplifting. Maybe there's something that you enjoy doing, meditation, anything. that just gets you out of that overthinking so that you can have that moment of peace. And really in those moments, that's when you're connecting with your true self there. You're really letting it out, letting it shine, and having that relationship with it. And then you discover in that space, that's where there's this space there that there is no fear. And so and that's the reason when I said anything is possible, but I mean that in the best possible way too. I'm more divinely aligned things, so these things that are in alignment and when you're in that alignment and you realize that all this stuff is, the things that are aligned with that, and you really invite those things to come in and to help to shift and change things for you. Instead of things happening to you, invite things to be there to help and work for you. This divine is there to do that. So invite that in. Even if you have to wake up in the morning and say, okay, I now invite in, any and all divine beings that are, to come in and to help me throughout my day. And the more you do that, the more you're inviting these amazing things into, and you're really allowing this energy, these amazing things to come in and help, to assist, to be there for you. And they do so in a way that is there's less resistance when you do it that way.
Yeah, I like what you said, but I know you would agree with this too, but like the things that are happening to you, ask for things to happen for you, but then you find out in hindsight, not when it's happening, you move into a space while it's happening, but you find out that the things that are happening to you are really happening for you.
Yeah, because you're actually truly not a victim.
Yeah. And
so you start to let go of that. Yeah.
It's helping you on your path, whether it's people, getting fired from a job, you know what I'm saying? Getting people gossiping about you, someone turning their back on you. Like, those people just showed their true colors. They were that from the beginning, so it was a good thing, because you would have never kicked them away unless they did that. They're leeches. They're working against you, and they're on your team, but you would have never let them go. So there's things that happen, and they feel they feel uncomfortable, and we feel like a victim, but they're happening for our good. What the enemy meant for destruction, God will in turn use for your good. So there's things that happen for us, but in hindsight, we can see it. Most of us can, if we'll look close enough. You move into a place like you were talking about, where you're just in this know, and you'll go through it, and you'll just smile and wave, boys.
Because you see that spark, that light that they are, and you know that all this other stuff is just personal. Temporary.
It's not personal.
It's just temporary, and it's not who you are. When you're connected in like that, it's not you. And what if from that space, because I've noticed this happens, I've noticed that by being in that space, just being in that space, connected, not really judging, you can actually be more of an observer versus judging. Yeah. And so even changing some of the terms there, when you're like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about someone and I was totally judging them. What if you were just observing them, So sometimes it's kind of, letting up a little bit on yourself too, and not really being so hard on yourself. And because, the only person that's really, truly in the end judging you is yourself. And so, but being in that space, I noticed that people start to change around you though, too. So it's not like, not always do they just disappear. They start to make changes.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relative, a spouse or a partner or a friend, whatever, they can actually start to make these changes too. Now, if they decide not to, then you will notice that maybe they just won't be around as much or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's fine too. You can still send them love and pray for them or whatever, wish them the best and move on. But those that are really meant to be there and stay, they will. And they'll do so in a way that it just naturally, like I said, it's more of a natural occurrence that they will just start to, you may notice that, oh, wow, they're being a little bit more kind now, or maybe they're doing something a little bit differently now. And what if you just being in that space allows them to start connecting with their true self more, allows that to start shining more for them, because you know that that's within them as well. And so that helps them to really, it's not like you're changing them. It's like they, it's just happening naturally. And they,
you bring stuff out of them. So it's not like you're doing it intentionally. Like you bring stuff out of them even when you evolve, and especially for those who are unevolved, or you have a liberty that they still feel judgment about, and so your freedom is like a thread, for me, that you have to use it for good, because it happens to all of us, even when people are elevated around us and we're like, hey, what about me? I've been doing this longer than you. And all of those things kind of kick in, whether it's to us or around us. But just knowing that, your time is coming, and, don't take anything personal, and you bring out that stuff out of people, and they bring it out of you, but it's all about the different levels and elevation. Got a couple questions here. People want to know a little bit more detail about some of the energy in Reiki. If you want to answer some questions right quick.
Sure.
Okay, so we got a question here from Padawan. Says, what physical sensations do you feel when performing Reiki, or I guess just doing energy healing, moving energy? Do you feel physical sensations?
I used to, more so than I do now. My nervous system used to be really affected by that. It's less so now. So what I do is sometimes I'll feel like just a tingling in my hands and my fingers. Otherwise, I let go of the whole, I need to feel something in order for it to happen. I let that go because I don't need to do that. I don't need to or have to feel what other people are feeling. I don't need to or have to feel that kind of energy. If anything, I feel just this peace and this love now. So it went from feeling more of a sensation to just feeling this connection by just being. So that was the difference there.
Okay. A couple more questions related to Reiki, then some other questions too. John Santiago wants to know, does Reiki work 100% of the time, or have you ever had people not feel any effect from it with doing a session?
I believe that it does work, especially when you're in a space. It depends on the person, though. It depends on how they're working. I can't speak for anyone else, but when you're connected in and you have this amazing just intention, or you're just in this space of being and allowing, whether that person knows it or feels it or experienced something or not, something did shift or change for them, but they may have so much going on that they didn't feel it or recognize it or know it, or, maybe, it would take more than one session or whatever. So that varies. It depends on the person. I know some people that have had reactions to people doing Reiki to them. And I know that I used to as well. But that changed. And so, it just depends on who you're working with and their integrity and their intentions and things like that. And sometimes they might believe that they're bringing some of their stuff in. They may not even know it. It might be a subconscious thing for them, and they might not even know it. So they, but yeah, just, when you're working with someone, just kind of sense or kind of ask for guidance in some way, a sign, that they're in integrity, that they're definitely allowing and being that clear channel, not bringing any of their stuff in to a session or anything like that.
Okay. That kind of leads in kind of where it just kind of gradually over time.
It depends on the person. I have had people that have had instant things happen, amazing instant things happen, like someone that could barely walk before, they were able to go and walk around the block right after our session. I had someone that had like cold symptoms. They went away just by us within like 15, 20 minutes of us being on the phone. Someone that had lost their taste. Their taste buds weren't working, and I didn't even do a session with them. They paid for a session. We never even did the session because they said that it resolved and they didn't need the session anymore. And so, so amazing things can happen. And then some people I worked with for months, and it just depends on the person. I can't say the how or the why that works the way that it does, because that's not up to me. And so I just do my best in that moment to help. And like I said, amazing things have happened, but other people, and when I would check in, I would get an answer that yes, it was helping them, but it just wasn't helping them with maybe one specific thing, a certain pain or something that they were experiencing, but it was helping them in other ways. So, it depends on, some people go in with an expectation, I've got, maybe, their arm is hurting or something, and they want that taken care of. Well, maybe there's something else going on that's for the divine is more of a priority, and maybe it's working on that.
That's good.
And can eventually lead to helping with the other. But some things happen just instantly, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, whatever level it is. And sometimes it's
or lost in the matrix. How do we regain our focus back?
Go back to center. Focus on your breathing. Know that you never truly take a step back. You can always get back to right where you left off or better. Because your true self is always there. So really just go within, or, focus on your breathing, do what you can to kind of get out of the mind, running and racing and all that stuff. Whatever you can do, meditations, any of the things that we mentioned, like yoga, going out in nature, hiking, jogging, whatever works for you. Sometimes just folding clothes or something mindless like washing dishes or something. Maybe listening to music or singing. Sometimes humming can calm the mind down. But really focusing on your breath, coming back to center, and then all that other stuff will start to kind of, just kind of fade a little bit there for you until you can get back on track.
It's good stuff. Let's see. Yeah. A lot of people are talking about the monster stuff too. The monsters under the bed. They definitely fit a lot of. Okay, so maybe a lot of other adults still fear about the monsters under the bed from what I'm seeing.
They do. That was just an analogy.
Don't feel like you're alone. Yeah.
Right, and it's also another fun thing that I like to say is that, like, imagine yourself on a bus. Okay, imagine you're a passenger in the front. Like in one of the front seats of the bus there. Now imagine in the driver's seat. Now, are you going to trust in the driver's seat more so this amazing divine, this universe that knows when and where and how to get to where you're going and all of this stuff? Or are you going to put in that driver's seat? Imagine the mind being more of like, or the subconscious, unconscious, whatever, being more like a child. So you're going to put a child in the driver's seat of that bus that you're on, or are you going to put this amazing divine that knows when and where and why and how to get to where you're going? Now, sometimes you get off that bus and you take a few little stops along the way, but that's okay. You can always get back on that bus, okay, and really get back to your destination there. And so sometimes, maybe and know that by connecting in, some people do like through their heart center, heart space, maybe that. But whatever it is that helps to bring you, even if it's just for a few moments of peace, that's that connection. That's when you know you got it in that moment, and know that it's always there. Sometimes this other stuff's a little bit louder. So sometimes it's really practicing that, connecting with that to help that too, because you really are this amazing divine being. You are this light that you can shine on anything, and it can really, it's like I said, when you shine the light on that darkness, it really the light can exist in the darkness, but the darkness cannot exist in that light. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's just really knowing who and what you truly are, not what you thought you were or what someone else said that you were. And you're not your experiences or your past or your beliefs or any of these things, but you are this amazing being that is there to help you have this amazing human experience.
Awesome. That's good. I guess another question here this is from Adam, wants to know what's a good way of dealing with anxiety in the workplace.
Yeah. So that's another thing that can help. As long as you can absolutely work with kind of manifesting, like writing down in that notebook some of these things that might be going on in the workplace, and maybe some people's names, maybe another job that you'd like to do or have, or, change to, and ask the universe to take care of that for you, and put that aside. Yeah. But anyone that's bothering you at work, like I said, when you start working on yourself and connecting in with your true self there, it can help those and change the entire environment around you, because you're changing your inner environment and how you react and respond to things. And when you're no longer overreacting to what other people say and do, they're like, what the heck? And then they'll start to just, change too. But if you actually started seeing that spark of light within them, it could possibly, what if, like I said, what if it just took you and that helped by you just recognizing that within them? What if that just started, and it may not happen right away, but it could. Anything is possible. It could happen the first day, or it could take maybe a week or two. I don't know. But just notice what you notice. Start just really saying, you know what? That's where they're at. I'm not going to judge them, because I don't know. You don't know what their past was. You don't know why they act the way that they do. They could have had a really bad childhood or been treated really bad at some point in their life, or they could be just being controlled totally by their mind and not really connected. And so you have the advantage by being this amazing spiritual being and knowing that evidently by watching the show that you have that connection in some way, shape, or form for you. So you have the advantage to change things. So know that you have that power. It's not your responsibility at all, but it's something that you get to do.
I love it.
That takes the pressure off a little bit there.
Love it, my friend. Well, thanks so much. Let people know where they can find out about your work at. Somebody wants to get a session from you or check out your new show that you got going on the new network and all that cool stuff, where they can find out more about you at.
Yeah. All of my information, all my links, the show information, sessions, all of that, YouTube, Facebook, all of that is on my website, which is ChristyWarnick.com, ChristyWarnick.com. And I have a Facebook page, which is Christy Warnick, Spiritual Healer and Teacher, which is Facebook.com/ChristyWarnick1, the number 1. And everything, all the information is there. I share out information on those places there. And so, yeah, I'm happy to connect with people. Like I said, people find me through podcasts, through interviews, through Facebook, through my website, through YouTube. And some people, they don't even know how they found me. They just do. And it's just amazing how that works, because I put out there that, whoever's meant to find me, they will. And I don't do a lot of advertising. I share out inspirational posts, but I don't actually advertise my sessions so much. But I'll mention it like during, a video or something. Hey, if you'd like to schedule a session with me, just go to ChristyWarnick.com. But I don't really put that out there that much. But people find me. But it's because that's just, that's the way the universe works.
Yeah. What's it? The quote, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when the person needs your services, when they find you, they're supposed to be there, and there's a trust there, because then you don't have to make anything happen. It happens for you when you're ready, and if you're not ready, it's not going to happen. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to kick any doors open or wedge any doors open. Like, the universe got you. When you're ready, it's coming. Make sure you're ready. Make sure whatever it is. If you're doing private sessions, if you're stepping out, starting a podcast, if you're ready to start working on music or following your dreams, make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and the doors will open. You don't have to kick anything open. So, enjoyed it, my friend. Thanks so much for coming on, hanging out with me. Really enjoyed it. So much inspiration and encouragement sent to people, and busting up paradigms, and only to teach them how to step in the flow. Because it is bad. It's very bad when you're in a place and you think that you have it all figured out. The Bible says pride cometh before a fall. And a lot of us get prideful, and we got it all figured out, and then it just all implodes on itself.
And it's okay, because I went through somewhat of at one time, like I don't like to really label it, but I guess the closest you would say would be like, but first I when I went through what I went through to begin with was more of like I was calling it a course correction, but there was like an identity crisis thing that went on when I was really working my way through a lot of these things. And like I said, asking so many questions and getting all these answers, but some of them were being a little bit confused by the mind. And so I did go through this, well, who am I? What am I? But when I went back to that I am that I am, and once you know it and really know it, there's really no going back unless you just absolutely just throw all that out the door and just follow your mind completely. But yeah, so I love helping with inspiring people and empowering people. Because like I said, no one is any better than anyone else, truly. And so we all have this amazing divine within us. And I love helping you to discover that. And it's such a beautiful thing to see people just shine. It's so worth it. It's great. Love it.
Thanks so much, my friend. ChristyWarnick.com is the website. Make sure you guys go check her out. And follow her on Facebook. She has some really awesome guests and a lot of cool stuff to say. She does energy healing and all that stuff over Facebook Live and stuff too. Is really good. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, friend. We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely. And I'm going to have you back on my show soon too. So I'll get with you on that. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Thank you. Yeah. Going here talk about this. I got this bad boy I'm trying to promote. I'd love to come in and talk to your guest audience
Great
about it.
Great to have me. Yeah,
thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Thank you so much. Many
all
blessings.
Right. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom. Peace. Christy Warnick, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome soul. She's from Alabama, which is interesting. I'm from Alabama. There's not a lot of this kind of talk going on. So obviously you don't just walk around and talk to random people in public about this kind of stuff, especially in Alabama. Somewhere else maybe, but Alabama's a little bit different. But we're the thicket clearers. We're the way seers here, and wouldn't have most people. Again, we talk about Alabama, right, and spirituality and New Age or whatever you want to call this crap. People call it all kind of other names, right? They see anything outside of biblical Christianity from what they've seen, or churchianity. Anything outside of churchianity, it's New Age, mumbo jumbo. But most people become spiritual or become hippies in Alabama and grow their dreadlocks out and all that kind of stuff. They buy hula hoops and all that kind of stuff, and they move. They move to Denver or California, but a lot of them migrating to Denver, going to the weed shops and stuff like that. I was like, hold on, we need people here, man. Change the atmosphere here instead of just jumping ship and leaving. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been one to hunker down here and make sure that I am who I am. And it's been hard. It hasn't been easy. It's easy to jump ship and run, but we've been here, man, establishing the kingdom of Christ wherever we go. It's been awesome. It was really cool too, because she's talking about like doing sessions with people and like people finding you when they're supposed to and how they're supposed to. I remember this one session that I did with a friend is now she's now someone who listens to the podcast now and supports and everything, but she was just looking up one day. She looked up, and I want to say this because Danny's in the chat now. She was looking up sleep paralysis. She was struggling, night terrors, all this crazy stuff in her sleep, and was doing her research and Googled it and found mine and Danny's episode that we did. And I named the whole episode that. I say the first good 30 minutes was about it, but we went in really deep about sleep terror, sleep paralysis, theories, how to break it, how to shake it, and things like that. And so we talk about this stuff openly, but there's a lot of people they don't know anything about it until they experience it, and then they go to Google, and then they're, oh, this is what it is, or this is exactly what they were talking about. Stuff that's out of this world. You didn't even know that nobody else knew about or experienced it, and you Googled it and boom, there it is. And so this one lady, she went to Google, typed in sleep paralysis or whatever keyword she did, and she found our episode, listened to it, and booked a session with me right after. And so I was able to kind of send some healing her way and counsel her on some stuff and talk about it and let her know what was going on, and she's been able to sleep after a session, right? And never had those again. There was another guy who this was wasn't through a personal session, but we went we did an event years ago, man. I remember this dude, Colby Craighead was his name, Craighead. And he added us on Facebook after, but we went to his city to do some music, and we were fasting and praying the whole weekend until we got done performing and ministering. That's just how we rolled. Nobody's eating anything until we're done. And it might be a day, 2 days, whatever. After we're done ministering, then we eat. That's just how we roll. We made sure everything was focused, and we got there and we're feeling a shift. Something's going on. Something's different. Feeling kind of weird. We got up there to minister, and this one young dude, Colby Craighead, came up to the front while we were performing, when we was asking if anybody needs prayer at this huge event. Kid comes up front and he's like, man, I haven't been able to sleep in so many days, and I'm having all these nightmares, and I have blah, 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 blah. I need prayer, man. I feel like stuff's coming for me. All kind of just crazy out of this world stuff, right? And so we laid hands on him and prayed for him and rebuked those entities that were messing with him and those kind of things, and ministered love and hope to him. And so he goes home, and then he adds me on Facebook, and then the next day, 2-3 days, he's like, man, thank you guys for the prayers. Thank you guys for the help, because that was the first good night's sleep that I got. That I haven't been able to sleep good. And after you guys laid your hands on me, and whatever y'all did, it worked. Keep it up. I'm following your work. Thanks so much. So it's the spirit of expectancy, man. It's knowing that it's going to happen. It's knowing that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. That all of these spirits that are little weirdos and it's all kind of stuff out there, they all bow to the supremacy of Christ. I don't care who they are, whether it's a night terror spirit, it doesn't matter. Like addictions, they must bow. Now the person has to give up whatever type of connection or doors that they have open. That's between them, but you have to close those doors, and that's through Christ, man. So that's what the beauty of who Christ is. And so if any of you guys ever question what I believe when it comes to the supremacy of Christ and who Jesus is, don't be afraid to ask. I talk to so many people on the show with different backgrounds and beliefs, and I don't cut them off. If they say something that I don't believe, I may shake my head or say, yeah, just because I understand where they're coming from, or I've studied even from that realm. Might not believe it. I just know what they're thinking. This isn't that show. This isn't a debate. You guys know that. But, just because I have someone on doesn't mean I agree with everything they believe, or, all that kind of stuff. But if anybody ever, feel free to inbox me, man. There's some questions you have or want to know. Look, I'm open. I try to respond to every comment that I can. If it's on YouTube, if it's an email, I try to be open and honest and give you guys opinions if I know it. If I don't know it, most of the time it's just theory. I'll give you all the theories and which ones seem plausible, which one that I kind of go with more than the other, because in a place of studying and thinking that you have it figured out, you say, look, there's 2 or 3 things. I'm kind of in the middle of both of them. This is what it is for me. It's the same thing. So I want to be open with that kind of stuff, and always make sure that I'm transparent with you guys with anything. So just don't hesitate to ask. Don't lump me or anyone else in a group, right? Or say, okay, that's this. You're a New Ager, or you're a cult, or you're a Christian. There's a lot of places I'm not welcome because I'm a Christian, because I believe in the supremacy of Christ, because I believe in the power of the cross. They won't have me because I use the word God in my book. Rather you mean use the word energy or universe, which I'll use them all. I like all of them. I'm not married to any of them. I'm not married to any of those terms. I'll use them all. I see the beauty in them all. But make sure that you guys are walking in peace and love and respect and just the awe and adoration. I'm telling you, you're in the right place there's people in my tribe and people in the group here who they'll tell me, and it's cool though. Like there's certain times where they're listening to me and they're listening to something they love, and then I'll hit them with something crazy, and then they're like, it hurts them. It cuts them at the core. It's like, hold on, whether they've never heard it or always heard that this was demonic or whatever the case may be. And it checks them. It checks their pride, their ego, and not meaning that I'm right by any means on anything that I bring to the table, but it's just, it does something to them. And get familiar with that. Get familiar with that, because that's going to teach you. You learn. I still face it, man. Like when people say stuff about me or slander and bring up stuff, you know, I got all kind of weirdos out there, man. And even though these people don't matter to me at all, it still does something. You know what I'm saying? You want to be validated, and we're always struggling with you know, the opinions of men and the validation of others. All of us, man. Bob Jensen says, when you say you believe in the supremacy of Christ, do you believe Jesus is God in the traditional Christian sense? I don't even want to like break that down, because that is so only because like I've dealt with that in a divisive manner, like a trick question. And so I read that as a trick question, not saying that you say it as a trick question, but I've dealt with Christians in the past, and I'm going to rephrase it and talk about the trick question again. When you say you believe in the supremacy of Christ, do you believe in Jesus is God in the traditional Christian sense? There's the fact that if I say no, then I'm in trouble, right? Or if the fact that I say yeah, then I'm oneness, or whatever the case is, right? So I don't want to answer that because I've answered it from people who were waiting for my response, and when I gave them my response, they left or whatever. But I'll tell you, no, I don't believe Jesus is God. I believe he's the Son of God. I believe he was God's only begotten Son, and that through him, I believe Colossians chapter 1, which is what I even told a friend the other day, which is so beautiful. I mean, I wrote about it in my book. At the very end of this book, I talk about angels, demons, spirits, aliens, Nephilim, giants, fairies, angels, imps, elementals. I talk about all that in here, but at the very end, I wrap it up with Jesus, who is Christ. And I go into Colossians chapter 1, which is the most beautiful breakdown of who he is for me. And so, yeah, check it out. It's, Chris Garner says it's a trick because so many have drawn a line down on that. Yeah. Is Jesus God, or is he the Son of God? You know, it's just like, I mean, they're willing to break fellowship on that. We got some trolls in the group. Brother Drew Gower, he says, what is your stance on medicinal and recreational weed? To each his own. I don't do it. So, you know, I'm not against it, but I don't do it. I can't do it. Say that. Let's see. So, I mean, I didn't mean that with any offense, Bob. You know what I'm saying? But just the questions that are already that are proposed in such a way to either spark a debate or to break fellowship or to leave. Or he don't believe Jesus is God. It's like, well, he's the Son of God. You know, one kind of same thing. He was created with he was there before us with the Father, and he created everything, and through him and for him was all things created. Colossians chapter 1 is really good, man. Let's see. Let me go through some more of these questions right here. Brandon Higgins says, True Seeker is who we are meant to be, one with all things to all men, so that I can win some, bro. For sure. The head already won. Somebody said earlier, let me see if I can scroll to this comment. It was about truth. I think it was Padawan. Let me try to see if I can find this really quick. I wonder if I can, I try to type in control. Okay, so Padawan was talking about ideas. He made a bunch of comments, but this one was, you said, what if that idea, and this is some of the ideas that we were talking about, what if that idea is just a trapping of the imagination and not truth? What if that's what it all is? It's all a trapping of the imagination, and that becomes what? Your truth. We're talking about stepping back from that and calling that truth. Like stepping back from the trapping of the imagination of whatever you think truth is. And if it works for you, run with it. But stepping back and not being so connected or so combative over your truths, or because I'm telling you, once you think you know, you have no idea. It's the beauty of it all, though, and to be open to that, to have your mind blown by the mysteries of what this universe is, and what God and creation and the mind and nature. It's so awesome, man. It never stops. You never have it all figured out. You continue to grow. And Bob Jensen says, last question, I promise. Is God personal being from your point of view? Yeah, for sure. For sure, because I mean that's the difference. And I say God, universe, spirit, with whoever. Again, I think it's all inclusive to me. But there's a difference there why I still say God, because a God is a father to me, and God is a personal being, is a friend. He hears us when we pray, understands our needs. And so, yeah, it's very personal to me, very personal experience. And but the universe isn't compassionate. The universe doesn't care who you pray into. The universe doesn't care about you. Universe will destroy you and not think twice. So that's the difference between what I call God and just saying the universe, even though I use those terms just depending, because I still like them all. And even the term God is kind of limiting, right? Of being a person. It goes beyond being a person and being everything. So yeah, I think God is that personal experience and personal one-on-one, but it's everything. It's like the life essence of the universe that communicates with you through everything. It ain't just it's through a still small voice. It's through everything, and it communicates with you through your consciousness. Like going back to what I said about, manifestation and my prayers and writing things down, and God's granting my prayers, and I'm putting it out there to the world, to the universe. I'm writing it down. Like, you write it down and you program it into your consciousness, and then God works with it. He speaks to it and through it. It's just one ancient universal voice that speaks through everything. And he says, my sheep hear my voice, a stranger's voice they will not follow. It's being able to hear the voice and song of the Creator speaking through everything. If you can't see God in all, then you can't see God at all. There's no cap to that. There really isn't. It's like, can you see God when you're in prison, and when you're in the dungeon, when you're locked up and charges are against you for no reason, and you're supposed to be out there with your brothers and you haven't done anything? Can you see him in the pit? Can you see him in the palace? It's like every single step of the way is learning to see his hand in the midst of it and not freaking out, and always trusting. And that's the test, because that is responding with love. Responding with love and trust and admiration. It's like, oh, again, we go back into this whole God thing of, our relationships. Like, God's like, oh, you love me when everything's going good. That's the story of Job. You only love me when things are going good. You only believe in me when everybody believes in me. You only believe in me when it's convenient. You only, believe in me when you ain't going through a divorce. You know what I'm saying? Now you questioning me because you're going through it. It's like, look, you reach a place where there's total faith and trust no matter where you are, and you see him in it. And that's when you buckle up, man. There's gratitude there no matter where you are. And it just keeps getting, you can go in as close as you want. It's fractals. The closer you get into it, the more depths you'll see of the beauty. The further you get away from it, the more of the bigger picture you'll see of what this thing is starting to look like. So it's a little bit of all of it, man. It's a beauty. It's a song and dance, and it'll never stop until we're out of here. And then even when we're there, I'm sure we're going on to other places and traveling and learning so much more on the other side. So let's see what else we got here in the chat. Chris Garner says, I got a diamond in my soul. Shining like a light pole. So the biggest Chewy says, hey man, will you pray that I be delivered from these gluttony spirits? For sure. 2020, we're coming for these gluttony spirits. They got to stop now. Y'all know I talk about this is whether it's gluttony or instant gratification. Not working for something, not preparing something, being mindful of all things, being mindful of what we put in our body, right? That's a big one, bro. I hope you're for real, man. But this is a big one. Gluttony is a huge one. So I've struggled with it for sure. Comfort, instant comfort. When we're talking about like all of this stuff, it's instant gratification. Whether you're addicted to drugs, whether you alcohol, pornography, food's the easy one. So go through the drive-through. Like, that stuff's deep, bro. That stuff will get deep if you check it, and it comes back. That stuff just continues to come. But gluttony is a big one. But I want to deal with all instant gratifications. Adam says, like your carrot hot dog, right? Right? I mean, I'm trying to make those choices myself. I identified in myself for sure. For sure. For sure. You have to identify it in yourself to even reach out to others. That's empathy. When we talk about empathy, that's empathy. And that's where you can pray with authority, because you've dealt with that spirit before. Spirit of gluttony? Sure thing. I don't even want to talk about my experiences with gluttony. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed of my gluttony in the past and what it's looked like. I've made a choice to fight it head on. It's embarrassing. Trust me. I don't even want to talk about it. But I've dealt with it, and I'm dealing with it. Yeah, I'm trying to, taking the diet. There comes a time in the Christian walk or the spiritual life, wherever you are, that God is eventually going to deal with your diet. Eventually. At some place or point, God's going to deal with your diet. For many of us, we get into the Hebraic movement and within the Hebrews, and we say, well, I want to eat how Jesus ate. Well, that was no pork, it was really no bottom feeders, and so there was a time, not about 8 years, we ate according to that, the Levitical law, and trying to eat the things that Jesus ate. Smith Wigglesworth, again, I mentioned him earlier. At the end of his life, God dealt with him about his diet. He was a large man, and he started eating kosher as well, according to the Bible. Now we've kind of transcended, I would say, the kosher diet. So many people now, kosher's not a thing. Now they're trying to cut out meats, flesh, dead animals out of their diet, and that's a big one. We're programmed that's what we're supposed to eat, and not only that, but you're supposed to eat it 3 times a day, and you're supposed to have meat with every meal. A lot of stuff. Anyway, momentary pleasures, instant fixes, quick fixes are never good for you. Whether it's food, whether, again, all of these things I mentioned, drugs, they come back. You got to pay for it later. There is no quick fix. You pay for it later. You pay for it later. So I'm gonna say a prayer real quick, man, just to bless you guys out. Again, we've been talking about that energy. Just tap into the energy. No matter where you are, you can feel it, from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. The peace, the bliss, the love of God, the awe of God that loves you so much. It just extends to you right now, no matter where you are, whatever you're dealing with, whether it is that gluttony, we called it out. You felt something. There's a conviction there. We hit a nerve, whatever it is. If it's the drugs, if it's the alcohol, whatever you have, that's your hiding place. That's not God. Whatever it is, man. We just deal with that. Father, I thank you for grace and peace, God, in this year, Lord, 2020 and beyond, that people will find their solitude. They will find their hiding place, their secret place in you. That the secret place won't be over here in some corner. The secret place wouldn't be in a substance, but the secret place would be in your presence, under the shadow of the Almighty, Father. I'm asking for peace right now to be extended to them. And I just come against any demonic stronghold, any open doors. We trace it back right now. Shut those doors, however they were opened, to gluttony, to just always wanting more, no matter what it is. It's never enough. I rebuke it right now. I speak peace in Jesus' mighty name to loose it. Let it go. Sever all ties right now. Peace to come in. that you are whole, that you need nothing outside of yourself to complete you. Take a deep breath in through your nostrils. Peace of God. Release. Rest. Breathe it in one more time. Peace of God. Holy Spirit, release. Yeah, right there. Let it go. Don't pick it back up. This is it. This is the activation. This is what you needed. It's what you was waiting for. Don't go back to it. Peace right now. More energy. Stay in the flow. You can tap into this whenever you want. Do it through the breath. Conscious connected breathing. Release. Peace right there. You can feel it. It's through the breath. The Ruach, the Holy Spirit, set apart spirit. Peace of God right now. More. Receive, receive, receive. Grace right now. Stronger than any foreign spirit. Shutting all doors. Forgiveness right now. More forgiveness is the flow. Feels so good. I love it. It's good. Real good. Love it, guys. Man. Jesus' name. Love you guys. Whew. Brett says, walk by faith, walk in the spirit, walk in love. Yeah, I mean, dealing with the spirit of gluttony. Look, Brett even helped us out, man. Even this year, he gifted us. I had I know I talked about this again, but we had a package show up, and I went and got it, and it was a juicer, big old juicer. Somebody ordered us a juicer, showed up at the house. I was like, I didn't even know who sent it. I went on Discord. I was like, did anybody send us a gift? And somebody was like, well, Brett posted a tracking code the other day, tracking number. And I went and clicked it. It was like shipping it to my place and ordered us a juicer online. So thank you for that, Brett. I've been starting with beets, man. Been eating beets smoothies, and I mean mixing it, not just straight beets, like with other smoothies and juice and that stuff. So thank you for the gift, man. Got another gift in today too, and I'm not sure who this was from, but I checked the P.O. box today, and there was a gift from Barbara, and said that we mentioned this in a conversation. I'm not sure which conversation it was, but sent me it's like 25,000 Iraqian currency, and I did the translator, the currency translator, and it goes to $20 Iraqian money that showed up in the mail today. So thank you. It's interesting, neat, different. Thank you for the gift. So thank you for that. So yeah, people send gifts. I got some really cool stuff around here from some really cool people. Brett sent me a bunch of anointing oil from Israel. He sent me a map of Israel. I've got posters and mugs and hats and all kind of stuff that people in the community send. I love getting gifts, right? Who doesn't love getting gifts? So, man, thank you guys. I enjoyed this podcast, this episode, and hanging out with you guys. Tomorrow's Thursday, and we got another show lined up for tomorrow. Let's see who we're speaking with. Let me pull this up just to see who. I don't even know. I'm so far booked out. Nope, nothing tomorrow. At least nothing on schedule. We've been doing a bunch though. Did something yesterday. Did a really good one yesterday. That was wild, huh? The Mark English one. For those of you who have caught that was wild. A lot of good stuff. You just got to hold on. That conversation was like a psychedelic experience through the ether, meaning you just got to grab something and hold on to it and pull it out, because there was so much information that came. So Tina says, okay, that was you, Tina, that sent that? Thank you. It said Barbara on it. So she says, when the diner revalued, you will have a whole lot more than just $20. So thank you. It's a really good gift. So thank you for that. Awesome. Appreciate that. Good stuff. With that, guys, I'm going to say peace and shalom. And well, Adam says School of the Mystics tomorrow. For sure. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's going to be good. Show up and be on time. It's going to be good. School of the Mystics, 7 p.m. Central, Thursday nights. It's going to be good. If you got to be a patron to get access to it. It's only $1. $1 if you'd like to get access. Go to my Patreon or go to the link in this video and sign up. It's $1. You'll get the email. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. It's going to be good tomorrow, too. Peace, peace.
Have a book, product, or service you'd like to promote? Look no further. Ad slots and commercials are now available for you to get the word out about what you do on the Truth Seeker podcast.
We give you what you need.
Engage the spiritual community and get yourself instantly in front of thousands of listeners who explore the spiritual, paranormal, supernatural, religious, and metaphysical realms. Have your commercial inserted into our entire archive of episodes. That includes the one with Jordan Maxwell, James Gilliland, Dr. Michael Heiser, and that weird one with Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Stop sleeping on yourself. Know your worth. Let's get the word out today about what you have to offer. Head on over to truthseeker.com and click on advertise for more info.
Your way so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the Truth Seeker podcast, head over to truthseeker.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/truthseeker.